right, I already see some people joining.
Hey.
Hey, hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I'm just trying to multitask here to
Oh,
see if I can. I just put up my iPad to see if I can follow and see some of the comments.
oh,
That's usually I mess up and forget. But yes, here we are. And how are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. Very excited to talk, to nerd talk.
Yes, same here. And yeah, up here, you're also in Scandinavia now, so we always have to talk about weather. So how's the weather
It's actually
in Denmark?
great. Like summer has started. And you?
Yeah, same here. We got like a couple of weeks of autumn and then summer started again.
Nice. Yeah, but same here actually. We're like, oh my God, putting back the swimming suit in the um,
Yeah,
in the wardrobe
yeah,
for a year, and then maybe not.
yeah, and not having to have the jacket, but now the problem is like whenever you're out walking, if you're in the shadow, it's too cold, and when you get out in the sun, it's too hot. But that's just like first country problems. So uh, I think we've got a couple of people joining in. I can see some friends here too. Um, and there's Kaylee and Eric. All right, it seems like we got a couple of people in here. I always make some kind of almost in jest introduction, and today I welcome Melissa, the voice that we would get if Angela Gosso and Charlotte Wessels had a kid that was raised by Flora Johnson and Team. No, what's the guy's name? God damn it. I prepared this, but I forgot it. The Sonata Tony
Oh,
Kako.
Tony Kako.
Raised by Tony and Floor. Yes,
Oh
that's what
wow.
we would get.
I would be probably a very happy child.
Yes, we all would be. I'm very happy to have you here. Your presence was requested by a lot of people who watched your earlier stuff. Um, and knowing some of the stuff you did, I also thought it would be a perfect fit for this. And with all the experience you've amassed in quite a few years being active,
Thank you.
at least, publicly active in the metal scene.
Mm, Thank you. Well,
So,
it's a pleasure to be here and to be invited, and I feel flattered that some people asked. So thank you.
yeah, I hope they're watching. And we can see some of the love showing up here in the
Oh.
chat already. So that's awesome. Um, there are a couple of, the cliche questions that we kind of start off with. But I know that you've been singing ever since you were a kid, but do you remember do you have any early memories of those singing years?
Yeah, I um I remember it went like this. When I was a kid, I was a fan of Britney Spears and all these pop stars, and I was like, oh, I want to be a singer. And then so it went like, I want to be a singer, and then someone told me, well, you kind of need a real job, you know? Oh, and then I realized, wait, it is a real job. Hey,
Yeah, that was like
I think it.
if we're talking years now, that would be like late 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think it was around, let's see, probably 99 until
yeah,
like until 99 where I was like, I want to be Britney Spears. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll have to choose something different. And
yeah.
yeah.
Must have been the that
Yo, oh, babe, babe.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I
Yes.
also remember those years very vividly. So that's when like the singer dream started, right?
Yeah,
But
but I don't know
but
why. I just it was the whole thing, you know. It was not just, oh, I love singing, so I also love like the performance. And Britney Spears, you know, she's dancing on stage with all these dancers and the whole show and everything. So it was the whole thing, not just being able to sing, but just performing. I love it.
Yeah, the entire package.
Mm-hmm.
So, but when was this? So it was like the kind of dream, kind of the same kind of dream of, you know, wanting to be a police officer or an astronaut or something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But when do you remember like any transition in like, okay, but I actually sound pretty decent when I sing?
But it's funny, I don't remember this. I don't know if it was my parents or family or friends who told me this, or if it's just like because it felt good. I don't remember. I have no
Yeah.
clue. I just know that I was singing and I was I was I was singing, I was performing in my room. Obviously, I was singing in the choir. But you know, when you sing in a choir, it's not like you're learning how to be an amazing singer. You're learning how to be in a choir. So it's
Adapt,
more
yeah,
like,
because yeah,
yeah, you're an ensemble. You're not just
yeah,
one singer. So I don't think it's this. I think it's just all this time spent in my room with my brush and my
the
mirror.
hairbrush. Yeah.
Yeah, probably this.
But you also sang in choirs as a kid, right?
Yeah, I did, but it was I think from around 6 years old until maybe 10 or 12. I don't remember, to be honest. It was called the little choir. You had the choir and you had the little choir, and I was in the
Yeah,
little choir.
yeah. I still think those, you know, I'm a choir director too, so I will never
Oh,
talk ill of choirs, but the, it is a kind of different way of singing, just like you said, you know, being the lead singer or whatever, and
yeah,
being in a choir, because as a lead singer, you're supposed to stand out vocally,
yeah,
and that's like
exactly.
the opposite of being in
Exactly.
a choir.
But you know what? That's exactly what I rediscovered when I sang with Rock Mix Classic. Because
Yeah,
you like the first, I remember the first day of rehearsal, yeah, rehearsal with the other singers. I was lost. I was like, wow, this is, it's not like it's easier or harder. It's completely different. You're like, okay, I have to be very careful of what I'm doing, harmonies and this and that. And this person is doing this. So I have to complete it and not compete with it. You know what I mean?
yeah. And not only vocally, but I guess the mindset is different too.
Yeah, especially because here we were the choir um, supporting a lead singer. So it's even different.
Yeah, and you have to like be very mindful of the little quirks and uh, stuff that the singer might or may not do.
Exactly.
And and I also guess that you learned after a couple of shows, like, oh, he or she is doing this all the time instead of whatever we rehearsed
Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah, but that was
Uh,
so great. That was fun.
yeah, I can only imagine. It sounds like so much. And you know, I've seen some of the clips, and it was supposed to be a longer tour in
Yeah.
2021, right? Sorry
Um,
to bring it up. Yeah, but
it's okay. No, actually, the first tour was supposed to be, I don't know, 15 dates, I think, 10 or 15. Yeah, probably 15 dates. And we had to
yeah,
stop after five because of COVID. And then 2021, we just had to postpone it.
yeah. Just gonna see if I can catch up with a question.
Oh my God, I'm seeing
Bell.
the chat, but I cannot follow.
Yeah, I can try to keep a track on it, but you know, if it fits, it fits. You know, if we can take any question, but it's like Bell. asks, or she writes, I like my voice, but I sound horrible in records. Is it the same with you, and how can I edit my voice? If we start with the question, like, sound horrible in recordings, there are very few singers who sound awesome on isolated vocal tracks.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion. And I don't know about you, but when I record and you go back and you listen, like, okay, will this fit? There is pretty often, you can get pretty hard on yourself.
I think for me, I have two issues when I do this. I mean, it depends. If I record myself, it's worth. If I'm in the studio, especially with Jacob, because he's just the best for this, I enjoy the time. I just enjoy the time. But if I'm recording myself and I'm hearing myself 50 times afterwards, plus I'm very, how do you say when you're really watching with, like critical? I'm very critical.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the worst. I mean, I will do something, I will listen to it and, cut it and whatever. And then first of all, I will get annoyed with my voice. And second, then I will be like, but this, I was sure it was right, but now it doesn't sound right anymore. So that's why I as much as I can, I will have someone record me, because otherwise I will just record 50 times the same thing, because I'm like, oh, I can do better.
Yeah. I actually, when it comes to lead vocals, I actually try to do, because I record almost like 99% of everything here in my studio.
Yeah.
But I've started with a concept of recording so that I have like 4 or 5 takes of the entire song that I kind of enjoy, and with a slightly different phrasing or whatever, or with some distortion on different parts or whatever, and I send all of them to the producer if they agree to it, and then I have them choose what takes they would like to use, because choosing takes, I can feel miserable for the rest of the day after doing that for a while.
Oh my God, yeah. You know what? I kind of assume that they want the work completely ready. Like, okay, these are the lead vocals, these are the backings, and you just mix.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is actually a lifesaver. If I can do this.
It's because when I tell people, they usually say, well, doesn't that take a lot of time? But well, sending one lead vocal track to the producer or the songwriter, and then you get like a list, like, change this. And that takes the rest of the week, or what, maybe you don't have time to do it that day, and then it's the day after, and then you send it back, and then you get, this was good, but try to do this. So it takes forever. So this actually saves time. So when I've done like 4 or 5 and sent them away, I can get like this list back, because they found like, okay, we can make this into a song, but we still need this because you're out of tune and you suck.
I get it. I don't know. For me, when I record at home, I just I record every part a few times, and then I choose the leads, and I have the whole song, and then I go through backings, ad libs, etc., etc. I need to have at least semi-final version of the song to start building up, because that's what I really enjoy. Like when I have the main, like when I have the leads, and then I have fun with the backings and the adders, and it's like, you make a cake, it's done, and you're like, and now you play.
Now we're talking. I enjoy that part a lot too. That's probably my favorite part too, doing backing vocals. And I do it to different bands and different singers and stuff, and because I don't know about you, but I was always the one who figured out harmonies. You know, whenever you're singing, like if you're drunk at a party, you know, or whatever, singing, I always choose the harmony, and I always, you know, go full Queen bananas on songs and, you know, fill in between phrases. And then eventually, as a grown up, I learned that, well, I can do this, and people can actually pay me for it.
Yes, indeed.
And that, you know, because I think with the vocal or with the backing vocals, you both get to do the arrangement, and you get to sing, and you get to hear yourself in multiple layers, and so you get, and you can have fun with different sounds and sounding, you know, doing some harsh stuff or, you know, angelic stuff. So you
Yeah.
can do all of it and play around a lot. So that's why I enjoy it, because you can do everything.
Yeah, I personally use it a lot to emphasize the kind of energy I want to give and the kind of color I want to give. For example, if it's supposed to be something sad, I will play with some kind of harmonies, and if it's something that's supposed to be happy or, you know, party like, I will play with other kinds of harmonies. And I just like it because it's like, you know, the hard work is done, and now you just enjoy trying stuff and making it final, and then the ad libs and stuff. I just, for this
Yeah,
new record with Ad Infinitum, I did it more than ever, because before I was more like guided, or it was different. Like for the records I recorded before, either we had a very precise idea of what we wanted, or there was some kind of guidance, or someone, you know, producer or whatever. And this time, you know, we really did everything ourselves without producer. We just had, of course, Jacob Henson
yeah,
in the
mixing it.
studio. Yeah, yeah, and also doing some post production with us. But
Yeah,
the whole creation and yeah, the whole creation and recording, we were free. And at first I was scared. I was like, oh, I've never experienced this, you know, this level of freedom. So I was like, what am I able to do on my own? And then I realized, oh, party's on. And it really worked so well that we did some stuff that we never done before. And for me personally, it was the great reveal, like doing some stuff that, you know, I love all genres. I like pop music, I like metal, I like super dark stuff, and I like super happy stuff. And I tried some stuff that I love, not necessarily metal stuff that I love, but some stuff that I love. And sometimes that you hear in pop music, but here, right here in that song, it just works, you know, and it makes
yeah,
it, you know, like
yeah, 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 yeah. Because when you find like the small details that, and you can think for yourself, like, okay, I stole this from, I don't know, Britney Spears
yeah.
or whoever, but you know, but it fits, and it doesn't have to be like obvious that everyone notices it, but you know, it's like, you know,
Yes.
I know, and you don't have to know, but I know, and that's enough.
Yeah,
Uh,
and sometimes people will just feel it without being able to point their finger on what it is exactly.
yeah, and you know, the association, the unconscious association, like, you know, they and perhaps they remember like 98, 99, you know, and they you know, they feel happy about it. I don't know, whatever, you know, the but but what I wanted to ask now is that you did this recording all by yourself for the new album.
Um, depends what you mean, the all by
um,
ourselves. You mean
yeah,
creation? Yes.
yeah, but the vocal recordings.
No, I went to Jacob Hansen's studio.
All right, yeah. And the pre-productions and stuff you did from home, right?
Yeah, yeah, of course, yeah.
So what do you feel is the biggest difference between singing in the studio and singing in your own little studio at home?
Oh, I love being in the studio because it's you're in this creation bubble, you know, you're in this environment that, you know, the phone is away, the everything is away. It's just like you, the mic, the produce, like producer, I say producer, but the studio engineer in that case. And and it, first of all, this place is amazing, and the acoustic and everything is just making it perfect. At home, it's cozy, but it's very different. You have distractions. You have
Yeah.
also you know, people. I'm pretty sure that people who pass the window can hear me. So that in mind, having that in mind killed it a little bit for me, because I'm very cautious, like, oh, I don't want people to hear me, especially when I'm doing crazy stuff, you know. So I know that I'm not singing the same when I'm in a studio, where I know that it's only the person recording me and me.
Yeah.
And you? I mean, you have a proper studio, so it's different.
Yeah, my closest neighbor is a pig farmer, so
That's good.
literally, I live in the countryside. Actually, the area where I live has been Danish historically longer than it's
Oh,
been Swedish. So,
oh,
but we've been at war with each other for a couple of 100 years about these regions, the
all
southeastern
right.
regions. But yeah, so I have the, I don't know. I like to go. I can go out here in 5 minutes, and I can start recording in 6 minutes. So there's pros and cons, because the bad thing is that I don't really prepare as much as
Yeah.
I should.
Mm,
Because like if you're going to the studio, then you're preparing, because you know, like when you're in the studio, it's like, and I can be a bit lazy. I can say, well, I finish tomorrow or whatever. So I I'm kind of sloppy with the preparation before recordings.
yeah, yeah, I
But
get it.
still, I can do it whenever I like, and I can, you know, I don't have to worry about the noise or what time it is, or
That's good. I
so.
have to
Yeah,
worry about what time it is.
yeah. But you know, it's pros and cons. But um, have you? Uh, did you also record a revisited album in a studio, or did you do it from home?
I did it from home, actually. This is the
Yeah.
first, no, wait, this is the first album that I record at home myself.
Yeah.
I
Let's
recorded,
get it.
for sure, I record,
We got
sorry.
a hello from Jonah and Mallory.
Hey, hi guys.
And now we learn that we are both great human beings.
Oh, this
Thanks.
is so nice. You too.
All right. Yeah, sorry for interrupting, but it was so nicely
It
written.
was a
Uh,
necessary interruption because they are so lovely.
yeah. Yeah, the home recording of the Revisited album. So, I mean, it must have been different in many ways. You know, rearranging songs, recording from home, being pissed off about canceled tours, neighbors, being in Denmark in general. Um,
Don't be
did I
jealous.
did I mention that we were at war for hundreds of years? No.
I think you're just sad that you're born too late to be Danish.
Yeah, actually the city where I live, there. Now we're getting off track, but that's okay. I know, because the album is about Louis the 14th, so I know you're a little bit historically interested. But the city where I lived, there used to be a castle, a Danish castle,
Yeah.
and then the Swedes came down from Stockholm, and they walked along the eastern shore, and then they got down here in the bottom of Sweden, and they killed like thousands of Danish people in a nearby city named Ronneby. And then they were starting to walk towards the city where I live. And the Danish people, they got really scared, so they torched the castle and ran away. And that's kind of when we became Swedish instead of Danish here.
I cannot blame them.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like I don't know, I guess Scotland and England, or Switzerland and France and Germany. You know,
Yeah.
the kind of
Yeah, I
half
totally get it.
friendly, half.
I I totally get it. I honestly, with the French speaking part of Switzerland and France, I have
Yeah.
plenty of friends in France.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
those I don't know. No, it's like, for example, if there's a soccer game, like, okay, let's just
Yeah.
talk about soccer for 1 second.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
fact
we
that
have to.
Switzerland beat their ass was worth mentioning in history books, like for the rest of
Yeah.
eternity,
Yeah.
because it just feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was kind of what pissed me off about the European Championship, uh, or in soccer now this summer. The only country we can't lose against it's Denmark. We can lose against any other country, but if we lose against Denmark, then it's like devastating.
And it's the same about Switzerland and France. Like,
Yeah.
if you're from the French-speaking part of Switzerland, you
Yeah.
can lose against anyone but France. And if
Yeah.
you get like eliminated,
Yeah.
yeah, if you get out of the championship and France is still there, any country going against France, you're for.
Yes. Same here with Denmark. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Sorry, but yeah. Yeah, we it's football, people. No,
No,
it's
it's
soccer.
not football.
It's soccer. But actually, you should probably hate Sweden even more, because do you know that what they did, like in the 1800s, like after all this disaster with Denmark? Now it's history lesson again. But when we didn't have a king, no princes were made. So they went to France and they found one of Napoleon's generals, like a low level, what do you call it, count, and say, "Hey, dude, you want to come to Sweden and become king?"
Sure
Jean-Baptiste
thing.
Bernadotte. Yeah, and he was like, "All right," and so our king today, he's like the descendant of this French dude who somehow became king in Sweden.
I got somewhere to be.
Yeah, but yeah, Switzerland. I don't know how many people in the chat who actually believes that Sweden and Switzerland is the same country.
Oh my God, I also, by the way, I have to go back in the comments for like it was
Yeah.
maybe 3 minutes ago. There was a very brilliant comment saying that for you, if you have to record some pig squeal, you just have to borrow a pig from your neighbor.
Yeah, yeah. Yes. I can't really do the squeals.
Something like this. I don't know.
Awesome. I've just started dabbling with the harsh vocals, but that kind of leads us into our next topic of discussion. After singing Britney Spears stuff, what do you remember when you first tried out doing the growling stuff?
Yes, I do. But before, just a small disclaimer, because I see some
Yeah.
animation in the chat. There's no
Yeah.
hate against anyone. It's just friendly
Yes.
battles.
Yes. And like between siblings or whatever.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
in Switzerland, I had Gruyere yesterday, so it's. And whenever there's no Swedes or Norwegians, because my wife's Norwegian, in the skiing championship, we're all for Dario Colonia. So yeah, no hate.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's just funny when it comes to championships, or it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to screams.
Screams.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was when Camelot released Sacrimony, and I listened to the song and I was like, wow, it's pretty badass what this blue-haired girl is doing. And I was like, okay, who is she? I used to have Wet Gloves from The Agonist back then, and I listened to I think it was Thank You Pain, and I was like,
yeah, I remember that one.
I was like, damn, I like it. What she's doing with her voice, it's badass. And since I like it, I want to be able to do it. And that's how I started to learn. And
is that how you? But do you remember, like, in your room checking so no one's there? Like, I remember. No, first
first there was a long process of finding videos, and I watched like, I don't know, hundreds of videos of guys trying to explain, and it was so frustrating because they're like, so you have to and it made no sense at all. Like, how do you go from to the scream?
Yeah.
And it was just, it made no sense to me. I watched videos and videos and videos. I'm like, thank you for nothing, guys. And
Yeah.
then I found this one girl who was in her room, and she said, yeah, you have to imagine that your mom is telling you, go clean your room. And you're like, and this is, you know, I was like, oh, and then, but I got it, you know, and it worked. And then I just trained it for, and then I just trained it for forever. I'm still training it.
Yeah.
it took a good year until I was satisfied with the um with the sound of it. I'm just reading Adrian's comment at the same time, and
Yeah,
I'm sure
I
she can
saw it.
relate.
Thank you for nothing. You know, it's like with everything, it's kind of pitiful when you start out, you know, whether it's football or skiing or screaming or whatever, you know, it's like laughable, you know, because someone who can scream, that's like intimidating, cool, awesome. But someone who tries to scream, that, you know, that's just pitiful.
Yeah.
And so that's why I very much admire anyone who actually managed to take the step mentally from sounding really, really weird and pitiful, but still keeping up with it and powering through and doing it. But
Yeah.
this, I mean, if it was exactly a year or whatever, but do you remember like practicing, or was it
Yeah,
like
I remember.
what kept you going? What kept you going?
Um, I wanted to do it, so I just decided I would continue. I don't know. It's like, yeah, I want to achieve something, so I just continue until it's done.
Yeah.
But I remember going to the rehearsal room on my own because I you know, I was rehearsing with the band every Wednesday, and but then
Yeah.
I was going there other days of the week, and I was I know that at the beginning I chose one song, so I would have a reference, you know, and and at the beginning it, you know, you cannot really manage properly the air, the your breathing, your air pressure and
Yeah.
everything. So I remember that first I could do like a few words, and
Yeah.
um then I had like one song, and I could do like one sentence, then I had to breathe, and then another sentence, and I had to breathe. And then finally, after rehearsing and rehearsing, I could do an entire song. So I was like, you know, that's how it started, like baby steps
Yeah.
to try to, first of all, understand how I would make it sustainable for an entire song, and then I start to work on how it actually sounds. And very early on this process, I started to use it a little bit with my band. We had we had recordings for an EP, and I think I used it like a little. And
Was this for Even More?
I'm actually thinking, because even more now that I know, now that I think of it, John from Rage of Light recorded some growls, so it might be for the EP of Rage of Light. I don't remember. Anyway, I
Yeah.
knew that I had some
But it was
recordings.
like 2016 was the first Rage of Light
Yeah,
EP,
I
right?
think yeah. So I think that was the first time I recorded some growls. I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
D-
yeah,
because this is quite interesting too, because you know because you mix the growling and the clean vocals
hmm
in your bands. Um, how do you pick what's to be growled and what parts to be sung? Is it mostly lyrical or musical choices?
with my guts, I guess. I do it better now than I used to do it before. Um, I just sometimes, for example, okay, I'll take the example, the most recent example, because I feel like now I have a better understanding of the music. With
Yeah,
the Ad Infinitum album, the new one that is not released yet.
yeah,
Um, I feel like there's just some parts that appeal growls and some parts that need clean vocals. Um, for example, we have a couple of songs that we have a few songs that have been written by Adrian and Nick, no, Adrian and Corby on their own, and then
yeah,
they presented the demos to the band, and then we're like, okay, now like I will do the I will create vocal lines and lyrics and everything. So it was basically instrumental tracks, and I had um how do you say, total freedom to do whatever I wanted. And
yeah,
you just listen to it and you feel like, oh, this is so heavy that I have a good growl pattern with rhythmic and everything
yeah,
that would complete this properly. And there's
yeah,
some parts where that no, that now this needs something melodic to complete everything. And when it comes to compositions that I start, like when I have some vocal ideas, I think I just go with the flow. Like, what do I want to achieve? And when is it needed to maybe emphasize the lyrics, or to make a change in the rhythm, or to make it heavier, or to make nice nuances. And sometimes I use it as backing to clean vocals. And it's just because I feel
yeah,
like, oh, now what I'm saying and the energy I have, I want to bring it to the next level. So people, for example, in Unstoppable, we have I
yeah,
sentence my fears to die, and I'm like, yeah, this needs growls behind.
yeah. But then you had focusing on Ad Infinitum, we had the first album, and then we had a revisited one where you had to
Yeah.
work through it everything once again,
Hmm.
and then you had to evaluate all of your choices
Hmm.
before the acoustic album. So by doing this, did you learn stuff by reevaluating that you brought with you into the next album vocally? And not
Um,
like new techniques, but like, okay, now when you were making the choice between different techniques or sounds or timbre or whatever.
you mean between the electric album and the acoustic album?
No, I'm talking about between, like, because first you did the chapter one, and then you did a revisited, and then you had, when you did a revisited, you had to like reevaluate a lot of the vocal choices
Yeah.
you made.
Yeah.
So did you learn something there that benefited you when you were working on the next Ad
Oh.
Infinitum album?
Oh,
That was
this.
a fucking long question. Uh,
No, okay. But I have to think
so
now.
take your time.
um. Oh, yeah. There's one major thing that I brought to the next album. It's when it comes to ad libs, actually, because when I recorded, like I said, when I recorded the first album, I was in the studio with the producer recording me, and I kind of I was so intimidated that I focused on the performance and not on the freedom and what I really wanted to add. Like I was like, okay, we have that number of days, and I have to deliver, and I have to do this and this, and I was nervous, so I just focused on what I had to do. And for the second album, when I was I mean, not second album, but the acoustic album, when I was recording at home, I had all the time in the world, and I had to adapt also the way I was singing, because it was not anymore a metal album, it was an acoustic album. So there's some parts where um, the arrangements were completely different. And for example, so just some
But
side information, Adrian did a huge amount of work like not transposing, but transforming
yeah,
all the orchestrations into clean and acoustic guitar tracks, like he
Yeah,
used, I don't
that
know,
work
tons of
is
stuff.
it's so impressive. It's a totally different level of not only guitar playing, but musicianship. It's really, really, really impressive.
Yeah, he's amazing, and I had to match what he was doing. So there's some parts where I had to rearrange the vocals differently, and there's some parts obviously where it needed some different energy and some different vocal lines, or replacing growls that wouldn't fit. I kept some growls, but just on one song. But there's obviously some things that needed
Yeah,
to be changed.
Maleficent.
Yeah.
Maleficent. Yeah.
And there's some things that needed to be changed, and I thought I really took the time to do something a bit different. I thought I don't want people to think, oh, they just took the vocals from the first album and put them in
Yeah.
the acoustic album. So I made some changes here and there, and I went like a little bit more poppy in
Yeah.
the ad libs, and I just enjoyed it so much when I listened after it was mixed. I was like, this is so cool. Why don't I do it? And I did it much more in the album, and I'm just so happy. And I learned it probably because of this. I mean, learned it. I developed it.
Yeah, but became aware of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because like with Maleficent, that keeping the growls there in the last part, that's to me that's very natural, surprisingly natural for an acoustic album. But I also felt like what was it? What's it called? I am the storm.
Hmm.
The, because that song it has the long vocal lines, the kind of the phrasing, that probably fits better, or not better, but the transition is not as it doesn't demand that much of change to fit into an acoustic setting,
Yeah.
at least to me.
But I changed it anyway because I thought, because
Yeah,
of the energy that was going on with the other instruments, it just didn't feel natural to keep the growls at like this
yeah.
place there.
But how would you, let's say you were you decided like, okay, Unstoppable, we're gonna make an acoustic version. How would you, how would you don't have to show us, but like how could you describe, how would that process be? Where would you start? What would you, not, you don't have to, but like in your mind, what would you do?
I would do this. Adrian, I need an acoustic version of. No, I'm kidding. I was looking for my phone. I'm literally looking at it, Where is my phone? Everything is fine. We're fine. What I would do, I don't. To be honest, the way it works with Ad Infinitum is that for the transcription transformation, I always mix those two words. Transformation into acoustics, we only have one experience, which is Adrian doing the
Yeah,
first part of the job. Like everything was built around his work for this acoustic album. So
yeah,
if I had to do it on my own, I guess I would grab the acoustic guitar and try to find the chord, but it would not sound as good. But I
yeah.
would,
Like,
first.
but let's say instead that you got an acoustic version from Adrian.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Like how would you approach the problem of transforming your original performance to the new one?
I think the answer is gonna sound very unsatisfying, but it's very much with the guts. I just feel what he's doing and where he wants to go and the energy, and then I just know that, for example, if there's a very calm part, I will not go full belting, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I will try to follow both what he like his intentions plus um also what the lyrics are telling, because if you're telling a story you have to stick to it somehow with the interpretation. So I think interpretation is very important, for the experience of the listeners.
But
I'm
do you
starting
feel
to
that the
laugh because
interpretation?
sorry.
Do you feel like your interpretation changes
When it's acoustic?
when yeah.
Yeah, because like I said, I also adapted to what was done by the instruments. So obviously between Marching on Versailles original and Marching on Versailles acoustic, the it's much more like, how to explain? It's the energy of the like the all the musicians in the band is very different. So automatically the interpretation of the vocals will also change. And that's why you cannot just take the vocals from the original album and put them in the acoustic album, because you have to follow the flow of the other
Yeah, it would probably
bandmates.
sound very weird.
It would, yeah, definitely.
And I'm just gonna say the level of praise for these voice chats in the chat here is almost embarrassing from Adrian and also from Carmen, another two of my students. Yeah, uh, they're nice people. Yes, I try to prepare uh, when I do these, and you, we can tell them, you evil, evil person. This morning, I was out running this morning. Yeah, I do intervals. You know, I run and then I walk. When I walk, I took up my phone and I've written you like yesterday some of the, you know, I want to ask you about this and this and this. And you wrote, yeah, oh, that's awesome. It was next Saturday, right?
And I'm and at this right moment, because I saw you replied to my first message, and I was like, great, he's online. So it's next Saturday, right? And I was like looking at my phone, expecting, and then your answer was so full of hate. It was just no, it's this Saturday. It was like no, period. And it's the period that does everything, you know. It's like, oh, now he hates me for like 30 seconds. And I was like, I cannot keep it going. I have to tell him that I'm joking.
It's like, oh. That's actually an amazing way to find a growling voice. Like, oh.
Right. I
But
should
yeah,
prank people. Like they can hire me,
yeah,
and I will prank them, and they will find their growling voice.
yeah, yes, yes. But I think, yeah, I think my very angry teacher mentality kicked in. Was like, no,
You didn't just.
like, is she that stupid? Like, fucking, you fucking shared the story with the countdown. It's like, no. But yeah, turned out well. But yeah,
22 hours or days?
yeah. But yeah, so yes, it was a learning experience doing the acoustic. That very long answer to a very long question. Let's see, I have some others. Yeah, we were. These were kind of the big things that I wanted to talk about, the acoustic and the transition of the vocals, because that's what really interests me. But I feel I got a very good answer, and I seems like people are satisfied with it. So for the next album, other than the freedom and the ad libs, did you have like when you start with a recording of an album, do you have like a vision, or do you have like you just go with the flow, or are you competitive with yourself, like you have to raise the bar, so you consciously do it, or is it just internal?
I'm my worst enemy, I think. We have some ideas, like we have this somehow map of what we want to do. We keep track of everything we're doing. Like, oh, now we have like 6 demos, and I have this Excel file with, okay, we have one song with very high energy, one ballad, one semi-high energy, etc. I have to, in my mind, I have to know how the album looks like, and and we have, like, for example, we decided to have a theme, not like a proper concept album where you tell a story from song number 1 to song number 12. More
Yeah.
like we take a character of inspiration, and then we play with the different aspects of history, personality, and questions like you know, um, what is interesting about this character more than in 1962 he did blah blah blah. You know what I mean? So it's more like the perception of the character, the actions, etc. And once we have this character, I mean, it's more about it guides more the lyrics than the whole album, I would say. But we just go with the inspiration, and we are all writing it together. It's not like there's one person writing the music and then the others are playing. It's like, for example, Adrian and Corby worked together because they live in Cologne, so they gathered and they wrote 2 full demos and 1 idea, and then I had 1 vocal line and 1 full song, and then I worked with Nick and we had 2 songs, and then I worked with Adrian because I had a vocal idea and I wanted his help to make it more concrete with all the instruments, because I'm not a guitar player, I'm not a drummer, so it's I can program some stuff, but it's always easier when you have the guitar player on Skype and he's like, okay, you want to do this? Yeah. Okay. What kind of chords? Yeah. What are you singing? Yeah. Okay. I think this would be cool. So we really go with the flow. And then we had like 16 songs, and we chose the 12 best that we wanted for this album. Did I reply to the question, or did I go somewhere else?
Yeah, you took another route, but it worked out very well. Yeah, really doesn't matter. But I totally understand what you're saying. But it got me thinking, like, another aspect of this, because just as all of us, you also do like the kind of guest appearances here and there. But do you have in consideration when you write the vocal lines, like, oh shit, I'm gonna do this live?
Yeah,
or is that a later, or is that a later problem?
Yeah, that's a later problem. It's like future Melissa will deal with it.
Yeah.
And I already felt it very much in the studio. Yeah, because you asked me if I challenge myself, if that's a goal. Yeah. Usually I have this idea of I have to do better than what I did before, which is, I don't know if that's stupid or if that's the way you evolve.
It can be. I mean, to me, it depends on what level you're putting it. I mean, you can have it at a healthy level, like I would like to improve, or you can have it on an unhealthy level, like I always suck and I will never be good enough. Then it's then it's not as good.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff that for example, there's this one song on the album that still gives me nightmares, and Morten calls it my nemesis because it's just what it is. Where it's a song that Adrian and Corby started to write together, and then they presented the demo to Nick and I started to work on the vocals. I instantly I knew, like, oh, I know the vocal line for the chorus is gonna be this, and I know the vocal line for the verse is gonna be this, and I was like, let me work on it. I just know.
Yeah.
But it's very different to be at your desk and sing na na na, and then in the studio and be like, ah! You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's not that, you sing it in head voice in the studio and you're like, it's just fine, it's just fine. In the office, and then you go to the studio and I'm like, no, I want to do it with full power, like belting the shit out of this vocal line, and it doesn't always work.
No.
And I'm a little bit stubborn, and when I have one idea in mind, I don't want to compromise for something different. So this one song, holy guacamole, it was a, a source of eternal nightmares for me. And it happens to be the next single. And and
Yeah, they're
oh
saying
my,
in the chat you're teasing us now.
yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah,
Just
and we also got,
stay
sorry,
tuned.
interrupting again. We have John, a friend of mine, he said he just came home from a vacation in Denmark or Enemy Land,
Oh,
as I
nice.
tend to say. But yeah, but you know, in a way that what you described there is also like a source of progress, because you know, accepting or whatever, you know, taking on like a job or whatever.
Mm-mm.
I guess like when you got the Camelot offer,
Mm-hmm.
you, I mean, anyone would just say yes, you know, instantly, and then you have to think, fuck, the level of practice, it
But yes,
dawns
and
on you
okay,
afterward.
I think it depends. For example, with Camelot, it's band that I really love. Like I already know their albums because I love what they're doing. So I know from singing it in my car that I can sing it. So it's
Yeah,
like, of course I'll do it. Yes,
yeah,
with great pleasure. I've been waiting
yeah.
for my Hogwarts letter for 10 years. I don't know.
Camelot is my Hogwarts letter. That's like a t-shirt.
but but for this one song, the good thing is
Yeah.
then I realized, oh, I have to be able to do it live, and I practiced it, and now I pretty much nail some of the stuff that I was really struggling with in the studio. This one song though, it's a lottery, but there's some other stuff in the album where it was a pain in the studio, and then I just rehearsed, and now it works.
I actually think that because my theory as a teacher, mostly it's about, you know, imagining and hearing in your mind what you want to produce. And
Yeah.
when you've heard it, you know, you probably listened to the mix a couple of times,
Mm.
and then you heard yourself singing it, you know, and there's reverb and there's some compression and stuff like that, and it sounds awesome. And that helps you envisioning how it's supposed to
Yeah.
sound. And when you can envision it,
Mm.
it really, really, really helps. I did that for I did a stand-in for before I joined the band I'm in, Cantis. Um, I I was standing in for a tour, and I recorded all of the songs at home, and I put on the level of auto tune and compression that I used. You know, it was like out of this world, but it sounded perfect. And I had very short notice. So I listened to these songs, these recordings of me singing perfectly.
Yeah.
I listened to it over and over and over and over again, like polluting my mind with the perfect
Yeah.
version, so that whenever I was singing it, I heard the perfect version in my head.
Oh
And it
wow.
helped so much.
I think that I'm not sure that will work for me because I think, for example, I remember rehearsing it in the
Yes,
studio.
T-Pain. Yeah, sorry, it was from the chat. Yes, T-Pain.
I remember rehearsing it in the studio, recording it just to, t tell myself, you did it. You see, you did it, so you can do it again. And then arriving in the studio the day after and anticipating it so much and not being able to do it again.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah. Yes. Um, let's see. I have a lot of stuff written down. I'm just gonna check the next. So not really the where am I now? I'm sorry. We kind of skipped a lot of the starting part of starting out with singing. But I remember I read you were before even more you were in cover bands. And do you think that
Yeah,
experience sing? Yeah, okay, it's like that. Yeah.
yeah.
So not an experience that helps you, you know, with experimenting with different kind of singing.
Not at all. I was in this cover band. We formed it before summer. Then everyone went on vacation. Then it never happened again.
Okay.
So yeah. No, I think what helped was I was I was both. Okay. I did several things at the same time. There was this show at school every year. You could say, okay, I have something to present, and you had the stage for yourself, kind of a talent show somehow, that you see in the movies. And
Yeah.
I think that was my first solo stage performance, like whatever you want to call it, where I was playing the guitar and singing. So that was
Yeah.
something I had to rehearse for and get used to singing in front of people. And in parallel, I was recording myself doing. I was playing World of Warcraft, and I started doing parodies of songs with gaming lyrics.
Yeah.
And I started to record. And honestly, sounds like crap because I was these gaming
Yeah.
headsets with the mic. I was recording like this,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you can guess how it sounds. But I started doing this, and since there were many people doing this in French,
Yeah.
it started to like get more um like I don't know, more and more people were discovering it, so it was kind of encouraging me to continue. And then I started to record covers of songs that I liked. So I think what really got me started was to record covers at home, and from like rock to pop to whatever.
Yeah. But do you remember like listening to those recordings when you did them? Like, did you hear like, okay, I like this about my voice and I dislike this? Like, so it
Yeah.
was on a conscious level that because obviously when you do whatever you did, and I guess you spent a lot of time doing it,
Oh
right?
yeah. Yes.
Yeah. But and obviously you improved while you were doing it, but did you improve consciously or unconsciously?
That's a very good question. Um, I don't think this is the main improvement. I think I got aware of certain things,
Yeah.
but the thing that made me aware of what I was doing is afterwards, I joined my first band even more. And also, okay, the thing is when you record some stuff and you put it out there, and I was I don't know, I was 16 when I started to record those gamer parodies, and then I was maybe 20 when I started to record, 20 or a little bit less, maybe 18, 19 when I started to put out some proper covers. The
Yeah.
problem is no one but your friends and your family sees it. So it's like, oh, you're so good. Yeah, you're so good. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm so good. I'm so good. Good. Perfect. And you just improve a little bit. You just improve a little bit because you're like, oh, I'm starting to know a little bit my voice. But the problem is, like I told you, first I was in a choir, and you don't really learn proper singing technique in a child choir. And
No.
then I was singing on my own or with some friends, etc. And then I joined my band. And same here, like they had a singer before and they were not very happy with her. So when I came, they were, oh, you're so good, you're so good. And that's not very helpful. It's nice, but it's not very helpful. And then when we started to talk to people and we wanted to record our first EP, we invited a guy who could record us. We invited him to the rehearsal. And that's the slap in the face that I needed. Because he went like, keyboard, very good. I like what you do. Guitar, brilliant. Really like what you do. Bass player, that's cool. Could be better, but I like what you do.
Mm.
Drummer, good energy. I like what you do. Melissa, have you had singing lessons? You're like, because you have a nice voice,
And
but
not that
yeah,
question was not in a good way.
no, 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 no. I, I,
Like,
I got it. I got it right away because he went like, you have a nice voice, but you need some proper technique. And this is the thing that really like, okay. And I think the day after I was contacting my former singing teacher at school and asking him, do you know someone who could teach me proper technique? And he recommended me someone, and I started to go like every second week or every week, every second week, to personal vocal coach lessons to really go back to the basics. And sorry, I was sick 1 week ago. And to really break it down to really everything I had to learn. Breathing techniques, sustain. I don't remember if it's sustain in English, but yeah, being able to use your entire body and not just this part. And then once this was okay, going a little bit further with techniques, with different colors, with the voice, etc., and to build it. And this is really the moment when I became aware of this. It's really when I had one-to-one lesson, like face-to-face lesson with one person, observing what I was doing and telling me this is right, this is wrong, this you have to be different, to do differently, etc.
Yeah, and I have a couple of comments on that, and the first thing is, and probably the most important thing is, because we all get those kind of slaps in the faces now and then, and it kind of fits with the narrative of how you work. Like your reaction was like the day after you lift up your phone.
Mm-mm.
And you're going to do something about it. Because, there's a lot of people who would face that slap with, cringing up, crying, like in fetal position, rocking back and forth.
Oh, I did a bit of that for a couple hours.
But you can do that for a little while. But I mean, what you do afterwards, that's the important thing. Yeah. I had the same experience because I'm from a very, very, very small town, and I was always, everyone will hate me that knows me, but I was always the best. At least I thought so. But you're like the big fish in a small pond, and then you go out in the big ocean. Into when I started at the academy, and I realized like the second day that I'm not really good. I'm like mediocre at best. So, then you need to do something about it, and then you get another one because when you, I guess whenever you play a festival or you release an album close to someone else who is really amazing or whatever, or compared with people, it's like, okay, you can be angry or pissed off or sad for a while, but then it's time to grab the problem or whatever and start to improve. I said I had more comments, but that was like the one, I think. But I can also say that the progress made when listening to even more, it's not a bad album, not at all, and the vocal performances, it's not bad at all either. But compared to stuff like only 2 or 3 years later, it's, and I think that's a good thing, that you can really tell the progress, because then you can say that, okay, it's not over.
Yeah.
This progress is not over.
Because to me, it seems like an eternity ago. Only when I look at the dates, I'm like, oh, we released this in 2017? Really?
Yeah.
Because it feels like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it all comes down to what happens in these years.
Yeah.
When you look back at when you're writing your autobiography, and in many years from now, it will seem like you will probably lump together the second Ad Infinitum album with the first Even More album. They will be in the same phase.
Oh my God, no, don't say this.
Sorry. But I'm old, so I know. It's like when you look at bands like, I don't know, Kiss, and you realize that the Kiss reunion in '96. That was the first part of their career.
Yeah.
So it's all about perspective,
Yeah, it's all about
I guess.
perspective. I'm sure that when I'm 50, I will look at it very differently.
Yeah. But I mean,
Oh,
it
do you know
also
I
means that,
sucked?
so, yeah, because, I mean, I don't know, whenever you did like the second Rage of Light album, if you look back at it even more, you would probably say I sucked, because that was an
Yeah.
eternity ago.
Yeah.
Uh, and and I mean, you should never stop that kind of progress, because
Mm.
hopefully in 5 years you will look back at chapter 2 and say, oh God.
I'm I'm hoping that I will still be proud of it.
Yes, because I mean, you're not embarrassed of the Even More album, I hope.
No, but
No.
everything, to be perfectly honest with you, everything I did until Ad Infinitum
Yeah.
feels like it was not 100% what I was designed for, if it makes sense, because what I'm doing with Ad Infinitum, I really feel in the right spot, for my voice and for also my energy and everything, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Totally makes sense. Um, but is it what would you say is what do you like most about your own voice now?
Um, I think it's the versatility. Like, for example, what I was listening carefully because there was this reaction video um, made by, I think it was made by a vocalist from Unstoppable. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but someone who was really analyzing everything. And I was I was listening to this reaction video and I was thinking, what is he gonna like? Oh wait, what is it? No, no, actually no. It's because I have a sorry, I had to put things back in place in my mind. I have this interview next week with a vocal coach, and I watched another interview that he did with Britney Spears,
Yeah.
and I saw how detailed his analyze of her voice was, and I was like, in my mind, I went like, what is he gonna say about mine? And I go back to Unstoppable, and I tried to listen carefully to what I did and to understand what I like about it. And I think it's the storytelling behind the different colors of the voice that I enjoy because it's something that I didn't always have, and that's something that I'm proud to do now naturally.
Yeah.
How about you?
um, I would probably say what I like most about my own voice is it's uh, it always sounds weird when you talk good about yourself, but it sounds like someone really did a good job on the EQ settings.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That's nice. That's
Uh,
nice.
I feel it's very balanced. I feel it got the high sparkly frequencies
Yeah.
without sounding like Axl Rose. And it also got the fullness and the openness without sounding like Tom Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, so I've sounds like I'm full of myself, but I feel like I have a full voice. It sounds
Yeah.
full and it sounds even throughout the register.
Yeah, okay.
It sounds the same sound wise in the highs as it does in the lows. That's what I like the most, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
What would you say you like the least about your voice? You
Mm.
probably knew it was coming, but yeah.
Yes. Um, I mean, probably my limits, what I cannot do yet. Like,
Awesome. You get a cookie for that one. Saying what I can't do yet.
yes, that's the spirit. I don't
All of my
experiment.
students who's in the comment section and watching this, take notes.
I
That's a
don't
great
accept to be
mindset.
blocked somewhere. I just think it as something that I will have to change.
I'll have to go too, right? Um,
Yes.
what I like what I like the least about my voice is, to me it sounds unpersonal. To me it sounds artificial and like I'm acting,
Okay.
uh, or without emotion, or whatever you would like to call it.
Mm.
But I got an awakening about that because I saw the Friends reunion, and
Oh.
Matt LeBlanc, Joey, he said that he loves all the other ones, but he hates watching himself because he thinks
Okay.
he's a bad actor because he knows that he's acting. When he watches it, it's like, that's me. That's not Joey.
Oh.
So, I think it's kind of the same thing. Like I hear myself sing and I don't feel anything
Mm.
because I know that it's me doing it.
Yeah, okay, okay.
I can't really put it into words.
I think I should not start to think about this because otherwise I will start to think the same about me and I will hate my voice. I
Yeah,
will
so
I will
let's talk.
quickly
So,
forget. No, but my brain went like, do I believe what I'm singing? Don't go there.
yeah, you have to stop. Yeah, okay, so let's keep it at. I think I have like a, but I've improved. I've improved lately, but I think that I have an unpersonal voice. But probably that's why everyone hires me to do backing vocals because it blends with whatever is done,
Mm-mm.
the main vocals. And here comes the friends comments in the comment section.
How
Yeah,
you doing?
how you do? Yeah, and I will ruin you, and all your fans will hate me for ruining the. Yeah,
Oh, no, no, no. It's fine.
no.
It's fine. I'm not thinking
Yeah.
about this. Maybe I will think about it like next time I hear a song, I'll be like, ah, I hate him.
Yeah. And we already talked a little bit about this, about listening to your own voice. Now
Yeah.
because I do it that much, I don't really care anymore. I see when I listen to myself, I listen to the singer, not to David or myself or whatever. I
Mm-mm.
try to do that at least. Um, Also, and here I definitely think about myself that way. Yeah, Greta has the same experience. I also had to mention, because before this, I've listened to probably everything you've done, but the thing I found out that really uh, caught my eye was the Misfits cover.
No, oh my God. Okay.
Because in like 97, 98, when they did like a reunion but with Michael Graves on vocals, I was like 13, 14, and it was like, it was like that album American Psycho, it was like it was written for me. It
Oh.
was like that one, and Famous Monsters, the album that came afterwards. It was like, I have the Misfits box set. I just reread the book, This Music Leaves Stains. That I'm a Misfits freak. So I wrote down that I had to say that I really, really, really enjoy that version.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I was like, what is he gonna say? What is he gonna say? Because also I think it's very rare that I also redo the instruments and everything. And I was like, I was very insecure to put it out because, like, first of all, I was like the fans of the band and the people who know the original better than I do, and the musicians, and also the guitar players who play way better than me the guitar, what are they gonna think? And I was so insecure about this cover. So when
Yeah.
I saw the good response, I was like, okay, that's great. Okay.
I survived. Yeah. Why do my compliments sound like an insult? Because I'm a teacher.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but that's an art form. It's like the Whiplash film. Insulting. If you haven't seen, no, don't see it, and definitely don't show it to your boyfriend, because it's about a drummer who gets his ass kicked verbally. Yeah, Misfits, whatever. I think I didn't check, but I think you changed the key, or did you? Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
remember.
Yeah, let's just leave it at it was a great cover.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, we get some examples here of other covers that you've done, and we could probably talk about that all evening. But is there, if you had no boundaries, what would your next vocal cover or your next vocal project or whatever be? What would you like to discover about your voice, or if there's something that you can't do inside of the Ad Infinitum realm, because you have a lot of stuff that you can do inside it, but is there something vocally that you would like to do outside of it? And of course you have the Dark Side of the Moon. Yes, I know that too, but
well, thing is, I don't know if I do have boundaries, because I've done some covers of whatever. I've done Take Me to Church, which is pretty different also than the typical metal stuff.
Yeah.
I have also something in preparation, like that has been in preparation forever, but because of albums and stuff, it's But I don't think I have any boundaries. Like, I don't. You mean a song that would remain like the original, or that would be transformed into metal?
I don't really know what I mean, but is there I'm not, this is not Metal Sucks or Blabbermouth or anything. Like, I don't want to, is she gonna do something else? I'm just trying to
yeah.
Do you have like a dream to be like a cabaret singer, or for me it's like, okay, one day I will play Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar.
Well,
no matter what, I will do it one day.
Well, if you decide so, that's your choice.
Yeah.
I think, there's a few things that I would like to try that I haven't done, and I actually don't know how to describe this, but it's this song called River, and I don't remember the artist, like a river, this it's oh fuck, who is singing this? Anyone in the chat, help me breathe now. This a bit bluesy, rock, mixed with okay. For example, do you know the song Believer by Imagine Dragons?
Yes.
That kind of vibe. I love it.
Yeah.
And I started to write, and I really want to just release, like, nothing ambitious, but just have my own song like this that I just enjoy, because why not, I wanna write a song like this because I just enjoy the vibe. And no need to be like, oh my God, it's gonna be a release and an album and a vinyl. No, just like, here's a song.
When's the tour? Come to Brazil. Exactly.
Just like, here's the song, do whatever you want with it. Like I did it once with my friend John. We did this song called Teardrops a long time ago, and a long time ago. You know what I mean?
Yes. Ages
And
ago.
ages ago, and it was just also like, yeah, we do a song together, we make a song together, we put it out there, and then whatever, you know. And I
Yeah.
like that kind of things, because the problem is when you have a band, when you have a project, especially when it's signed, there's some kind of timeline and schedule and expectations and this and that, and
Yeah, and
you
you have a
release an
fan
album.
base.
Exactly. And you cannot just do whatever when the inspiration strikes. It's like, okay, there's an album, there's singles, then there's another album, there's a tour, there's this and this. But just for the sake of writing whatever the hell you want and just releasing it because you like it.
You can do like what do you call it? Anonymous stuff.
Like
It was like, you know,
gorillas.
there's a legendary Swedish opera singer called Jussi Björling. He was like, you know, the biggest opera singer of his time. But in his spare time, he did like schlagers and stuff like that, like with a what do you say, pseudonym, uh, under a fake name.
Yeah,
Just like, you know, Stephen King writes some of his books in a fake name, you know, so same with this guy. You could do that too.
I could.
I and now everyone will, you know, search to find like where is it?
Vocal recognition.
Yeah. I think we will um round things down, but we got one interesting question that I think could be good for ending it up. This was from Elizabeth. Did you always feel like you knew your voice, or did you have to experiment with different styles and techniques to find what felt most you? And it was for both of us. How did we find our own voices? What
I'll
were
go first
felt?
for a change.
Oh, I started to sing very late. I started to sing
Oh.
when I was like 16, almost by accident, because where I studied, you know, I don't know, yeah, when you're like 16, 17, 18, you go to high school or whatever you call it, and a singing teacher. I actually had piano lessons, but I started to sing. You know, just I sang when I played the piano, and she was like, "Okay, you're done with the piano lessons. Now it's time for singing lessons." Because obviously there was something she wanted to improve, and I'm very thankful for that. But you know, I never thought about what I was doing. I was just singing, 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 and I sang everything. And later, I've done literally hundreds of cover band gigs and troubadour stuff. So I never thought I found my own voice until like much, much, much later. I don't know if I hadn't have it now either, because I was like a musical and vocal chameleon for so long. So I think it's, you know, I said now I think I'm good, but I hope I will look back in 5 years and say, well, I'm better now. But now it kind of feels like yeah, things are, and this is after like 5 years of the academy and teaching vocals as my full-time job for 13 years. You know, now I start to feel like, okay, things are working out. I found my voice now. But I don't know when I found it. Probably when I stopped caring about what other people thought. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Okay, that reminds me, I will answer, but that reminds me, I have a question for you. And if I don't tell you now, I will forget. So it's about recording an album today and looking back 10 years later. But first I will,
You answer first.
don't
Yeah.
worry. First I will reply. I think it's, I think I started to find my own voice when I understood what I like about other singers that I look up to. And when I started to train some stuff and achieving what I wanted to achieve, like for example, um with the growl, like I explained before, I was like, oh, this is cool, I want to learn it. And then finally I could hear like, oh, this is decent, I like the way I sound. Was like, check. And then, oh, there's another technique that I wanna master, and I would start to train it, and then check. And when I started to be able to put all this together in a song, and then that the song would be pleasant for myself to hear, and that would be like, feeling good about my own voice. I think that's when it's really changed for me. Um, it was a learning process, and it was definitely through hearing different genres and understanding what people are doing, and still every day now I'm listening to, for example, Mariah Carey, and being like, okay, now she's doing this, she's going high and then going in the whistle notes and
Yeah.
this and that. And, really listening carefully to what people are doing. And when finally mastering more and more and more of these techniques that I would appreciate hearing from other singers, that I started to feel like to shape my voice and my vocal identity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes perfect sense because to me that sounds like you are. It's the connection between the ears, the mind, and the voice.
Mm-mm.
Like
Yeah.
you hear something and you imagine yourself singing it, and then
Yeah.
you're reproducing it, and then like it automatically mixes up with whatever you have
Yeah.
inside you or behind you or in your ryggsäck, backpack.
Ryggsäck.
Yeah,
But I think it's difficult when you start, especially when you're, I would say, a teenager, and you're first of all, everything is growing up. Like you're literally as a person growing up.
yes,
So
I know.
and you have to also get to learn yourself. So there's often some transition periods where you're like, oh, I think I want to sound like Amy Lee, and you're saying, oh, and then I'm like, but it doesn't feel natural. And then you're like, oh, I want to sound like Lizzie Hale. You're like, no, doesn't feel good. Okay. And then you have to kind of find where he's, and it's also that's that joins what I was saying with Ad Infinitum. When I started working on the first album, when I was still alone in the band or solo
Yeah,
project, and
yeah,
I was helped by this producer. First, the very first demos were not at all me, and he was like, "Okay, what kind of songs do you sing at home and you feel like, oh damn, I sound good on that song?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's the Delane, Camelots, Rhythm Temptation kind of songs. It's not the Hailstorm kind of songs. It's what I like to listen, but it's not the way I like to listen to my voice, because when I listen to my voice singing Hailstorm, I'm like, damn, you suck, girl." It's not my style. It's very good
yeah,
for her kind of voice because she's brilliant. But if
yeah,
if if I start to sing this, I cannot listen to it afterwards. I'm like, no, 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 that doesn't work. So I had to find it through, okay, I like when I sing La Kunakoi, for example, because it really feels natural. Okay, what do I
yeah,
like about it? What kind of sounds do I like about my voice? And it's really like exploring the whole soundscape.
yeah. And as long and it also sounds like you are able to do that with a um, decent level of self-critics, because
Yeah,
some people can't handle that process because they kick themselves down too much.
yeah, yeah. But exactly when I say that I told myself that I sucked, it's a typical example of it. Very
Yeah, but
unhealthy.
but I mean, there's a difference between acknowledging that, well, I don't sound very good doing this, and okay, my reason for existing is is over. That's a bit because I mean everyone says like, oh, I suck. I say that whatever you do, if you cook or whatever, but it sounds like you have a pretty good level on your self-criticism, because we need it to improve, but we don't want to overdo it. Um, yeah, I will give a short answer about old albums. Second,
Yes.
I did this one in
Yeah.
2006 or 7, and if I listen to it now, uh, I can be proud of what I did, but I what I think makes me most happy when I listen to it is it helps me to see the progress that I've done.
Yeah.
So I'm not only proud of the album, but at the same time as I'm proud of the album, I'm also proud of the progress that came after the album.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does make a lot of sense. I think it's a good thing that I will keep in mind because for me, for example, when you mentioned the Even More album, it's not the way I look at it. It's like, oh my God, I don't want people to listen to it anymore because it's not a good representation of what I am today, you know? And it's
Yeah,
the wrong way to look at it, but it's the way I still have it in my mind right now. It's like I want people to listen to what I'm doing right now because that's
yeah,
how I am right now. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, but it seems like you have that mindset too. But you know, eventually, now I sound like a fucking grandpa. But you know, when you reach my age, you will be able to look back and see like you can appreciate because you know I probably have more problems with I don't know stuff that I did more recently because they're so close. They're so close in time, so I they're still recent,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
uh, I can't say that it's because it was such a long time ago, because it was
yeah,
like 2 or 3 years ago.
yeah.
So it's still now-ish. Mhm. But we are actually on an album together, but not
Yes, we are.
together. I forgot about that, and I'm not really on the album. I was actually only on the Japanese
The bonus,
bonus
yeah.
thing. Yeah. So I don't know. How do you feel looking back on the Skeleton album?
I think I'm still, I haven't listened to it in such a long time.
I mean, and you're on two Skeleton albums.
Yeah, right. But I think
I'm
I'm
only on
still
one.
the one with the the one with the it was an Avantasia
Yeah, the farewell.
cover. Yeah. I think I'm still proud of this one because I remember listening to it and be like, oh, that fits me, that kind of vocals. And I was proud of the performance. So I don't think if I would re-record it today, it would be drastically different.
Yeah.
And I recorded this one at home, by the way.
Yeah, and that song can be pretty hard breath wise. You know,
Yes.
finding it fitting all of the words into the
Yeah,
chorus.
yeah.
I remember I worked with Adrian on that one.
Mm.
Because she does it live with Avantasia. So I
True,
remember,
true.
yeah. So I remember it's like, yeah, that's kind of a hard one.
Yeah.
Um,
And very
for
high also, yeah.
yeah, and also because there are people who will listen to the original and blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and that's kind of the same problem I have. Yeah, I have the Skeleton. I can I don't want to pick it up now. But the original one that I did was sung by Michele Lupi.
Yeah, yeah, right.
And it's like, okay, people will listen to that version, and then it will listen to mine. It's like, fuck.
Yeah,
But you know, whenever you get past those kind of thoughts, because I feel like I can feel like that for a couple of seconds, and then it's like, fuck it, I
yeah.
have to leave it.
Well,
And we got a cheers from our Rankseed Alliance friend here, Tommy,
oh, hey.
who's been a guest on this chat earlier too.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
met again at Rock Castle Festival in Czech Republic 2 weeks ago.
yeah, yeah. I'm a little bit envious of that. And you were supposed to play in Gothenburg like in 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah,
with Vision of Atlantis.
yep.
So yeah, you know, I shouldn't bring it up even, but you know, it's like,
I yeah, I stopped hoping too much and I just take each day as it comes.
yeah, carpe diem. Yeah, I think it's time to round things up,
Yeah.
because otherwise people will get bored of us. But I would very, very, very much want to thank you for your time and for doing this and speaking so openly and personally about something that is very personal,
Well,
singing and the voice.
it was very, very nice to chat with you and I'm the one who thanks you for the invitation. It was very interesting. And
Yeah.
I could keep talking with you for hours about vocals.
Yes. Yes, we should do a recap for this one. Because I'm not going to stop doing this. And once you're number 9, I think. And
Oh,
soon it's time for like a big, with many of the earlier guests together, perhaps. I don't
yeah.
know. That's a later idea. But once again, thank you for the very good answers and the openness. And I would also like to thank each and everyone who joined us in the comment section and who enjoyed it. And I also want to thank everyone who watches this afterwards because I will put it out on different places. So everyone will be able to see it afterwards. Yes, Tommy, let's do a reunion. Uh, um, so yeah, I don't know. Thank you very,
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and have a nice evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.